Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. So right now, the marketing surrounding coaching, in my opinion, is getting a little extreme. I see coaches promoting their own results, but they're extraordinary results, or they're atypical and exceptional clients, as though that's the expectation of what you can experience by working with them. And of course, solid marketing means you're going to showcase your most exceptional client results, right? Who wouldn't do that? But I think that as consumers and as business owners who are potential customers of these coaches, you also have to be mindful of what that is doing and understand that just by hiring that coach, that doesn't mean that you are going to experience those results. Or just by hiring that advisor, that coach, that mentor, that the hiring of them alone is the solution to your problem. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is why coaching won't solve your business, your money problems. Now, social proof is powerful, but just because someone else has seen those results doesn't mean that they're guaranteed or they're typical. And especially if a coach is marketing that those results can be achieved in 6 to 12 weeks, well, remember, ask yourself the question, well, what starting line were they starting from? Were they starting from scratch? Were they starting from, chapter 22? What T were they hitting off of when they achieved that type of result? And just like any other industry, we're always after some type of quick fix. We always want to get these extreme results in a short period of time. And I just want to remind you that if you're online right now consuming all of this, it is not typical. This is a long game of success. And you have to be consistent over a long period of time to get the types of results that you're seeing. And even with me, I've been approached in the DMs by some of y'all, and it's really interesting to talk about, wow, how did you do this so fast? And you built this and you did that. And wow, the podcast grew really fast. Well, here's something that's interesting. The podcast has grown very fast by my standards. I think I'm always impressed with how much it's grown. And I want to just say thank you for listening and continuing to listen to an accountant ramble about stuff. But the other factor is that for years before this podcast even came to fruition, there was like a year and a half before this podcast launched when I was thinking about doing it. And I just kept showing up on Instagram. I kept showing up on my blog. I kept showing up on my text message. I just kept doing the stuff I was doing consistently. And when this podcast finally came out, there was actually a demand for it. Like, people actually were interested in it. I didn't have to do a ton of promotion for it because I knew that people would subscribe and listen if they were liking the stuff I was putting out. So why I bring that up is that a lot of business owners think that these are instant results, and therefore they're looking for the equivalent of a diet pill. Basically, what is the quick pill I can take to get the results that I want to fast? And they want to find a quick fix that will inject cash into their business to help it grow, right? And the truth is that most diet pills do more harm than good, or they're just a source of temporary relief, or even worse, a lot of, let's say, diet pills, or let's say your business were to take a pill, right? There was some type of way for you to take a pill and grow your business overnight, like 10x. You wouldn't be able to support that. There is a process there. You have to hire your team. You have to build your operations. You have to up-level your tools, your software, your processes, your workflows. And that is a long process, one thing at a time. And it's just not sustainable to grow that quickly and be able to keep everything moving and to keep that balance that you want in your life. But yet we are all still searching for that quick jump in revenue, that jump in performance that we think others are experiencing when in reality they're not. This is a byproduct of a lot of work probably put in the background that you can't see. And I mean, really, let's go back to the diet pill example, right? They do more harm than good. And the reality is that if you want to lose weight, for example, you don't need a pill. You need to eat your broccoli. That's it. We all know that the secret to weight loss is pretty much eat fruits and vegetables, exercise, minimize sugars and fats and things like that, like small habits over time, right? So eat your broccoli. You don't need the diet pill. Just eat more vegetables. And let's talk about taxes, for example. And if taxes are like the vegetables we have to eat, like your diet pill, right, when it comes to taxes is probably hire a CPA. Like I'm going to hire a CPA and therefore my tax problem will go away. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now that hiring a CPA does not make your tax problem go away. You still have to eat the broccoli. If I had to put myself into this analogy as a CPA, I am Velveeta cheese on that broccoli. I make the broccoli more palatable and able to digest it, make it easier to eat it, but you still got to eat it. You cannot outsource your willpower. You can outsource your meal prep, but you cannot outsource your willpower. Okay. You still have to be the one to exercise. You still have to be the one to eat the vegetables, and you're not going to get results unless you do that. And, and simply, simply consuming the information also doesn't really generate any results. You have to take action. And where I'm going with this is when we talk about coaching, we talk about coaching as the solution. A lot of people right now instinctively will identify a blind spot in their business or a pitfall, something that they need help with. And for me, a lot of folks approach me, for example, when they get a big tax bill or they're worried about taxes. And the solution to that is not, this is going to sound funny, but the solution to that isn't always hire me. The solution to that is being willing and able to look at the problem and to be able to commit to wanting to fix it. And fixing it, the solution again is not hiring a person. They will help you facilitate finding that solution, but they are not the solution. And that is something that a lot of folks misunderstand about hiring a professional, is that simply hiring the coach is going to fix the problem, or that they're going to deliver you this magical solution that you can implement. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case. The results you want are the byproduct of small habit changes over time. That goes for health and wealth, just the same. And it's about finding one thing you can do to shift your mindset and habits. And that could be as small as checking your bank account balance. Or here's an interesting example that I've discovered recently. I recently brought on, actually, it's a former client of mine, I brought on a nutritionist to help me with my diet. And one of the things that she does is that she has us take pictures of our food, but she also asks us, how are you feeling? And we're supposed to enter how we feel. It's got a few emojis in a range, right? Stressed, confident, anxious, tired, happy. You've got all of these different range of emotions, and you have to say how you feel before you enter in your food. And while that may sound silly to some people, and honestly, I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's funny. What I've realized is that by doing that, it actually forces me to become present and mindful of my feelings and go, how am I feeling right now? And to do that 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. And what that has made me do has become, I've realized like how stressed I am when I have to tell her 3 or 4 times a day that I'm stressed out. It's an interesting truth to examine, but it's really interesting to create that mindfulness through just a simple question you have to answer. And what if, it just got me thinking, what if we had to do that with our bank balance? What if before you opened your bank account, you had to answer a question of how are you feeling right now about your money? Oof, or just how are you feeling? And if you said, this is, by the way, a fantastic business idea for banks. If you said, I'm feeling stressed out, anxious, feeling scarcity, feeling this, feeling that, I think it should actually like boot you out and say you can't look at your money right now. or or like restrict you from being able to see how much you have if you're not in a good place to see that information. I think that would be an interesting concept. But I think that when you can really be honest with yourself about how are you feeling about your money, feeling how are you feeling about your health, whatever it may be, and know that that is the lens through which you're looking at your problems, that is huge. That is huge to be mindful of those types of things. And I mean, ultimately, when it comes to bettering ourselves, identifying those problems and improving, we have to take control of our results. We have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to look inward. We have to look inward and understand that a lot of how we feel is derived internally and that we're projecting that on something. So, you know, when you bring someone in as an advisor in your life, their job is to motivate you, to build up your awareness and give you perspective so that you'll commit to making the necessary changes in your life or your business. And that is a fantastic investment if you're willing to put in the work. And I'm not against hiring a coach, but what I do want to do is call into question if you're the type of person who immediately seeks out the external help whenever you notice a blind spot. I'm 100% a fan of outsourcing what you're not good at, but I think that what you have to do first is go back inward and figure out, am I just resisting this thing? Am I going to, when I outsource this, right? Like, what is my role going to be? And if it is related to taxes, for example, which is my specialty, then what role am I willing to play in getting these results for myself? Because all too often, and if you're an accountant listening to this, I know you can relate. All too often, we have clients come to us who want to just hand over everything and be like, just handle it. And to the extent that I can, I will try. But without the client's participation, without their attention, without their mindfulness, I can only do so much. There's a limitation there on the results you're going to get if you try to outsource everything. Like I said, you can't outsource the willpower around a diet. You can't outsource the exercise getting done on a trainer. You still have to show up. You still have to be honest with yourself and be present when you're meeting with these different professionals and be willing to engage, willing to be coachable and to consume that information in an honest way. And if you're not in a place where you're ready to do that, I also want you to be honest with that professional and say, you know what? I've had a really rough day. I had some unexpected expenses come up and I'm feeling particularly, scarce today. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit anxious. This is how I feel. And I would, at least if it were me, I would honor that. And I would say, okay, good to know. Because then I won't lead with any bad news about your expenses. I won't, I'll approach that with that understanding. But I think that the more we can get in touch with those feelings and articulate them to others and make them aware, that's just going to create a healthy relationship. And that's going to make your results even more attainable. So I know we took a little bit of a sidetrack into the mindset area of things today, a little quick episode, but I felt like sharing that because I've just been seeing a lot of fear recently, especially with the economy, all the things going on, inflation, gas prices, all the stuff, and sales dropping. I feel like a lot of folks are getting anxious about, what the next step is. And, do I need to hire somebody and I need help? And they're turning to other professionals to help them. But I think that take a breath, take a pause. It's a good habit to look inward as well and see how you can potentially solve this problem and how committed you are to solving it before you engage someone to help you. Because, you're the one who holds the control in your hands on how it's going to go. They can help you with momentum, but you're ultimately the one who's going to decide if you get the results you want. So just a reminder, if you enjoyed today's episode and the show, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice and share this episode on social media. My handle on Instagram is @ShannonK Weinstein. I would love it if you would share this with your friends on social, post it to your stories and tag me. I would be so grateful. Thank you so much. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could chat with me and our guests about this episode? Well, guess what? You can.
Join the Keep What You Earn community now using the link below in the show notes. You can post your questions, chat with fellow business owners, and the best part, it's totally free. Oh, and by the way, it's not a Facebook group. That's right, no noisy notifications or distractions. Just what you need to get the full experience from listening to this podcast and maximizing your value. Meet us over there after the episode to get exclusive content and access to me and our guests for your questions. We'll see you over there. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.